Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Monday. It's November 30th, last day of November. Welcome. This is Tulio Serguso with Dojo Live. I'm joined by Carlos Ponce in Cuernavaca, Mexico, and Kim Lantis in Hermosillo. Hi, guys. Welcome back.
Hey.
All right, it's Monday. Let's get it, as they say. We had three shows last week, and we had pitching the augmentation game with David Reed, who's the CTO and CMO at NOV, and also the
NOV.
NOV. Excuse me, yeah, NOV. And then we had Journey from Software to Shoes, driven by passion, with twists and turns along the way, with Nimesh Orbadarwala of DJO or Dr. Shoes. And finally, mobility-based media, capturing audiences on the go with Fermin Morales and Bo Sijuade, COO and CEO of Oyster. So they were all great shows. And if you haven't seen them, I encourage you to check them out, because there's always some lesson, some opportunity, something new that comes out of these interviews from the people who are actually shaping the tech industry. So definitely check it out. But the one that stood out for me was actually this idea of mobility-based media, right? We think about our phones as the only mobile device that we have, but you get into a taxi and there's like a screen there, or you go shopping and the shopping cart has a screen there. Some of them have screens, some of them have fixed signs. So these are all opportunities to get in front of consumers. And often they have content that isn't necessarily relevant. It's like, I don't care what's going on across the country, or even across town for that matter. Show me something local that's pertinent and relatively interesting to me where I'm based. So what these guys have done is created a technology and a platform that, one, provides these devices for the Ubers or Lyfts of the world, and two, ties in geofenced vendors that are local to where the car might be traveling, so that you're getting some relevant advertisement. And then they also create the content for those local businesses. So they've got a full-fledged, almost like an agency service and business, yet they consider themselves a data company. So go figure, check it out. I thought that was interesting and creative way of serving the local needs of consumers in a way that also supports local businesses and provides a vehicle for those local businesses to reach consumers when they're out and about, which is typically when we're shopping or doing something that requires spending money. What stood out for you guys?
Yeah, well, in my case, Julio, the one that you mentioned, the conversation with the guys at Oyster, it was at first it was confusing, because I thought, from the looks of it, you go to the website and, well, the first thing I thought was, oh well, there's this app, one more, right? But then you realize that everything that they're working on, they're putting together, their attention to detail, and also what I liked about them is that they're putting a lot of effort also in production and content. So they're also working with their clients to produce high quality value content, so which they curate or help to curate. So in that sense, it's a very, very broad platform. And although it's the early stage, but still the concept of proximity media, close proximity media, and advertising through mobility itself was something that, I would have never dreamed of, not even in my wildest, when I was into advertising like a million years ago. Then it was very refreshing to take a peek at where advertising is right now, and how it kind of blends in with with technology components like geofencing and localization, that kind of thing. So it was very exciting to me. I was drawn to what they were saying because of this. So I look forward to just maybe witness it in other regions, not only in Dallas, because I know that they're in Dallas, the metropolitan area, but I look forward to just watching its growth, maybe in other urban areas in the States, and maybe abroad. Who knows? So we'll see.
Mhm.
So kudos for these guys.
What about you, Kim?
Yeah, sure, thanks. I would like to go ahead and talk about Nimesh's talk, Journey from Software to Shoes, Driven by Passion. And I think one of the things that he said that spoke to me most happened at the very start of the interview. And it was something to the fact of, if I were to die without $1 in my bank account, I would be okay with that. But if I were to die without making a difference in the world, I'm not okay with that. And so he kind of talked about his story of making a shift from, I believe, working with Dell, moving on to Dr. Comfort, which for a lot of people might seem like a shift downward, because now we're talking about shoes. But what's important to me is that technology can be used in all facets of life. And I think apps, we're thinking about video games, or booking, but we can apply tech in all areas. And what Dr. Comfort is doing is utilizing tech to help design shoes, particularly I learned a lot about, actually, on the 30 million diabetics in the United States are amputated because of diabetic foot ulcers. And so these shoes are a way to prevent that. And get these images and these personalized shoes. And I just think that
I think we lost Kim.
Whoops, we lost Kim.
Yeah, look, I will echo what she's saying, and the fact also, I thought that what was interesting is that Nimesh made a comment about culturally, in some cultures, it's important that you follow a certain path, right? Sorry, we lost you, Kim. We're just wrapping it up. So in some cultures, it's like you have to become a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer, right? So anything other than that is frowned upon as not being successful. And I love the fact that, you've got to follow your passion and not be afraid to do that. I love that he shared that with us, and found a different path to still adopt technology, as you mentioned. What about the conversation with David Reed? Carlos, I think you had some thoughts on that. We're coming up on time, by the way.
Well, what I do remember about what drew my attention with the conversation with David Reed is the fact that and I mention this every time that we speak with someone who is connected to AI. We've had a lot of those conversations, and the common thread seems to be always humans are better. Humans are AI is never going to take over Hollywood style. So the focus should be on the human, and I think this is what David highlighted and stressed. He even coined a phrase which we're quoting all over the place, and which is, anything AI can do, you can do better. So that alone, it should be, I don't know, how can I say this, Tulio? That alone should be something that just making us feel ease that, no, although AI is very useful as a tool, it can help us make our life easier in more ways than one, but still humans behind it are the ones who are going to be in control, and that's very, very comforting. And actually, David made a point of that too. So I agree. I totally agree with him. So that's what drew my attention from this one, Tulio.
Yeah, very encouraging, and again, bringing back to the human ingenuity behind everything. So, guys, we're up on time shortly. What have we got coming up this week?
Yeah, okay. This week, Tulio, unfortunately, we had a cancellation, and so the only, actually, Tulio, in all honesty, it looks like a pretty odd week because of these cancellations, but there's someone else who's going to be stepping in. I don't have the info. The only thing that I know is that the company is called Plant Jammer, and we're going to be speaking with its CEO, Michael Hasse or Hasse. I hope I pronounce it correctly. So that's the only one we have like set in stone for this week. The others, like They're kind of flaked out a little bit. Maybe it's the holidays approaching and everyone's like, yeah, I want to go home. But so that's what we have for sure, Tulio, on Wednesday right here on Dojo Live at 1.
All right. Well, we'll see you back on Wednesday at 1 p.m. Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of your week.